Welcome back to the Cutty and Govy show. Today is Halloween, Govy. Are you going trick-or-treating? You going to wear a trash bag? The garbage man, Mr. Trump?
Or McDonald's. That's another big one.
Or, yeah, you could go out as a McDonald's guy. Well, you're going to have to carry me on this show here. I'm a little wiped out today. On the way over here, I went to the ATM machine. You ever go? I'm trying to figure out the engineer that designed these ATM machines because they're so far away from your car window. When you drive up. You need to be 7 feet tall to reach, and they designed the panel, the push button panel, that you can't see it in the sun.
Right.
I think it's like they don't want people to take money out of the bank. And then after that, I went to the biggest Starbucks in Boca, where they informed me that now you have to understand in Boca the town grows by 5 times from the summer to the winter. So they informed me, the nice little girl this morning at 5:30 informed me that they're closing for 2 months for a renovation. I said, I want to meet that guy that made that decision. I mean, he had the whole friggin' summer to renovate this Starbucks, and he decides to start November 1st.
But he didn't know it's coming. He doesn't know the season's coming.
It's like, I want to meet this guy. I want to talk to him. I want to try and understand the mindset of where he's going.
When you go to the ATM machine, do you have to undo your seatbelt in the car to reach the machine and open the door?
And open the door. I can't. First of all, it depends what kind of car I'm driving, because some of the cars are so low that you can't even reach the panel. And then some of the trucks that you pull up. But what's great is they design a roof over the ATM machine, and it's designed specifically so when it's pouring, the water comes right down on your head. I mean, it doesn't clear your car. It comes right to where your car turns.
You know who I got behind the other day at the ATM?
Oh, that's forever.
A human. Like there was a car and then a person standing behind him and then me. And he was just waiting in line to go up, and he was using the outside ATM rather than going inside.
And now they're restricting the bills. They only have ones. They no longer have fives. They no longer have tens. They have ones, 20s, and 50s at PNC.
I get a bunch of $2 bills.
You have to go in for that.
No, they go through the teller on the outside. I like $2 bills.
Oh, nice, Gabby. Those $2 bills you
They're
use
lucky.
for the valet, yeah. So let's talk. Let's start out with Madison Square Gardens. I mean, we're rolling down, 5 days till the election. We don't want to talk about politics the whole show, but we have to obviously talk about it because of the election. Madison Square Gardens, Democratic stronghold, my people. The Donald had a wonderful rally there. He claims 100,000 people outside and 25,000 people inside.
He had 20 inside. He sold out the entire inside. And he maybe had 50 outside.
He was funny. But so anyway, he had this comedian that made some bad jokes about the Puerto Rican people or Puerto Rico, and then he had Melania. His wife came out and announced him. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, well, we never hear from her. Let's see what Melania has to say. So she starts talking policy, immigration or the deficit. And every guy's thinking about what kind of underwear she's wearing. They're looking at her. We don't want to hear about the border wall from her. We're figuring. Every guy that's watching is saying, is that a black bra under there?
No, some are struggling with the voice thing. They're trying to understand the accent.
But, I mean, I don't understand why the people didn't say to her, Melania, come out and start out making a joke. I was back there with the Donald fixing his hair. It looks perfect tonight. Or I'm giving the same speech Michelle gave last night, but it's going to be a different speech tonight.
But the thing I didn't realize when she's now out here in the, helping him a little bit, I didn't realize it was because of her book, that she's trying to sell her book.
Right.
And did you see that from the 1 week to the next week, she went from number 1 on the New York Times to number 7 or 6? I mean, she dropped off tremendously. And they were saying that her book had no substance to it. People, when she wrote her memoir, they wanted to hear some of the details of Stormy Daniels, how did it affect you?
She didn't give you juice.
She didn't give you, and there's so much
No
juice.
nude pictures of her when she was a nude model.
Well, she doesn't need to put those pictures in because you can find them. But people do want to know, what was it like standing by when someone like that Carol woman is claiming that your husband raped her in
Bergdorf Goodman.
Bergdorf Goodman in a dressing room while the guy has bodyguards all around.
You've been in that dressing room. It's impossible.
It's
First, he has bodyguards,
and he's
it's right
famous.
out there.
So that's one. Then how about the Stormy Daniels thing? I mean, she didn't put any juice in the book. What's she gonna like? Tell me about your son. How like certain things, and by the way, the dynamics of everything else going on. People putting him in jail. How about the kids interacting?
So, I mean, she still sold 100. So my book, which if I ever friggin' get it out, the publisher's killing me on it, was supposed to come out this week.
It's a 10.
Now.
Your book's a 10. I already heard.
But Gabby,
read a couple
I get
chapters.
$7 a book. She already sold 130,000 books. So, I mean, 7 times 130,000, if I ever got that lucky, that's a good payday, right?
Her husband just lost $1 billion in 2 days on Trump Social.
I'm not comparing me to her. I mean,
no, but I'm just saying, what difference does it make what she makes on a book?
Obviously,
she could be in the White House. I mean, what difference does it make?
So you think Trump's winning?
I think.
Do we have a bet on this?
I think Trump is winning in a.
What's our bet, Gabby? I'm taking Harris. You take Trump.
I think.
Do you give me odds? Because Vegas has odds on Kelsey.
Well, I'll tell you what.
The betting site.
I think Trump. I tell you where I think the election's coming down.
Are we making a bet?
Yeah, I'll take.
What's the bet? 10,000, 20,000. We got it's
$5,000. $5,000.
Gavi, we got to at least do a regular 10.
10,000. I'm taking Trump.
All right, I got Harris for 10. All right, well, we'll pay off next Thursday.
Now, if you want to go, like I think, and give me some bonus, I think he wins the popular vote.
Let's do a prop bet.
Okay.
Let's do 10,000. I take Harris. You take Trump.
Okay.
And let's do an under/over. How many days till we know the results? I say we don't know the results for 2 weeks.
How about this? How many days after the election, if Trump wins, that they start the impeachment? Did they start the impeachment on Donald Trump? That they were going to try to stop him from taking the office, that all this stuff's going to come out.
I'm not making that bet. I believe the Democrat. Look, I'm a Democrat. The Democrats are scum. They're crooked. They're trying to steal 5 points. There's election interference. I mean, they're going to win by cheating. It's like this Hunter Biden. We saw it yesterday. They postponed. By the way, folks, they postponed his sentencing till December 16th. Oh. The election's next Thursday. Joe's out of the office. He can give him a pardon, and it doesn't affect anybody.
When was sentencing supposed to be, though?
It was supposed to be before the election.
Right, so there's no way he's going...
Duh.
Right.
It's after the election now. It's December 16th. It doesn't matter. He's going to pardon him. He could get 20 years. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's so crooked. My team is so devious and crooked, folks.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think this election comes down to.
What's it come down to?
I talked to my nephew, George, the other day, and George is a very successful guy, married, 2 daughters, and I asked him which way he's going. And he's going Trump, and his wife is going Harris. And I said, like, how does that work? Like,
Does his wife work?
No, they have twin daughters.
Okay, so she's a stay-at-home mom.
She's a stay-at-home mom right now. I think she also does some work on the side and stuff. Very bright girl. And I think that, it used to be households if you went back into the 60s and 70s and 80s. It's like, I think generally the husband and the wife, they got together, even if they had a difference, they talked about it, and when they went to vote, they were on the same page. I would say 80% of the households back then voted the same way, either Republican, Democrat. If you're a Republican but you like Bill Clinton, you all voted for Bill Clinton. I think today he told me he can't change his wife's opinion. It's different than his. And then I'm thinking, so how many families do you think out there are different? That the 2 spouses have a different view, and then let's say you take half of them. Can someone sway the other spouse? Can one person say, listen, I'm just letting...
Are they going to be honest and tell them the truth who they voted for?
Well, if you talk about your first 3 issues, and let's say the first 3 issues are economy, immigration, foreign affairs with wars so we're safe in here and stuff like that, and then maybe security and crime in the cities. That's 4. And maybe the 5th might be abortion. The question is, if the first 4 are 100% Trump's advantage, then... Why not just tackle that first? I can't see someone saying, I just hate the guy that much that I can't do it.
You know, there's a lot of women that are, the abortion issue is paramount to them. So they're just, they're staying on that. They don't like Trump. They think he's whatever. And, they're going with Harris. I think most of the votes for Harris are, I hate Donald Trump votes. They're not, I like Harris votes.
But at a certain point, that thinking, I'm going to just take that thinking exactly.
Well, how would you handle it in your household? If you came home and your wife said, Govy, I'm voting for Harris, what would you say?
I would just like to know the reason why, and I would
I'm
like
returning that Christmas gift I bought you.
No, but I would like to know a reason why, other than I don't like the person. Like, I'll give you where it gives me like the same situation when I hear Harris and Biden say, all Donald Trump did was give tax credits to the millionaires and billionaires, not the regular people out there. Well, I would like to say something to the people out there. If I went up to the millionaires and billionaires and I gave them a tax break and they were able to save an extra, and the guy makes $10 million a year, but I'm making, say, $100,000 a year. Do I want to go up? Would it make me feel better if all of a sudden the tax credits come out?
None of this matters.
And he makes only $5 million a year,
but it doesn't
but
matter.
you lose $15,000.
It doesn't matter. People don't care.
I don't care what the big guy makes.
You're having an intellectual conversation with somebody that doesn't even care about those issues.
But they're saying they keep throwing out, worrying about the billionaires. So they're going to make. Who cares? As long as I'm worried about what I'm making.
They're trying to hit every point. But I would say a lot of the people that are voting for Harris are just voting on 1 or 2 points. And those points, they don't care about the billionaires, the trillionaires, or whatever, raising.
Well, they are. They're voting on trying to hey, they're the rich people. That's all they care about, not the middle class. If the middle class was going from 100,000 to 85,000, that's a big 15,000.
I think
the billionaire going from 10 million a year to 8 million a year.
Yeah,
no big deal.
But I think the issue that would resonate with the housewife is grocery shopping.
Right.
Predominantly, most
security.
Of the women, security, grocery shopping. So, yeah, on all those issues, you would think they would have to vote for Trump, but they don't. Well, let's go back to this Madison Square Garden. So we had this comedian that said these horrible things about Puerto Rico. So what I think Trump should have done, the next day, he should have said, and looked right in the camera, he should have said, I'm going to do something that Joe Biden never did. The person in my campaign that hired that comedian that said that off-color joke, you're fired.
That would have been great.
And he should have just taken responsibility for it. I fired the person that hired the comedian. Done. Now we have the New York Post, folks, right here, the trash man, Joe Biden. I mean, he looks... My poor father who passed away in July, laying in the casket, this guy, Joe Biden, looks like my father does. I mean, he's dead. But, I mean, he said all, and he's trying to back it up, go back on it. He's saying all of Trump's supporters are trash.
All of them.
And he said supporters. I listened to it.
I know. And then the White House gets caught by trying to cover it up. They actually lied on the transcript even. It's unbelievable. But let me ask you.
And then he pulls up in a trash truck, which was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
The person he fired probably came back and hired the trash truck, to get herself back in good graces. I think it was that Brink, woman.
A lot of our audience might not know who Andy Warhol was. Well, by the way, I met him at University of Miami when he was at the art thing. But anyway, there were 3 Andy Warhol paintings that could come out of this thing. When he got shot and he said, fight, 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 and he had his hand up in the air with blood coming down, Andy Warhol picture. Him opening up the takeout window to McDonald's and giving a Happy Meal and waving to the person leaving, Andy Warhol moment. And him in a trash truck is another Andy Warhol painting that could come out of it. Genius that he did all these 3 things, and I think that.
Do you see him struggle to get into the trash truck? He has cognitive decline.
Hey, let me tell you something.
He's physically unable.
That trash truck is pretty high up there, and he had to pull himself up there, and the adrenaline.
He said it was this high.
The adrenaline did kick in because let me tell you something. Him getting into that trash truck, knowing that there's all these cameras just waiting for him to slip up, is a little different than. It's like if I threw you a football and say, if you miss this football, it's going to cost you $1 million. You're a little nervous than if you just went out there and caught the. It's that's a big thing.
He was pretty funny last night. I'll admit that. He did a rally last night after the trash truck, and he had his safety vest on. That all the garbage guys wear. So he said to his guys, give me my jacket. I'm going in front of 25,000 people. And they said, sir, wear the safety jacket. And he said, I'm not wearing a safety jacket. Give me my Brioni suit jacket. And they said, sir, you look thinner in that safety jacket. He said, all right, I'll wear the safety jacket.
Everybody can relate to that. Everybody
wants to lose 10, 20
right.
pounds, right?
That was great. I just think that right now, the Kamala campaign, where it was going to be the campaign of joy, and Oprah was up there with joy,
Right.
joy. All of a sudden, you turn around, she's calling you a Nazi. You have Hillary Clinton, you're a deplorable. Joe Biden, you're trash. And by the way, this speech that she gave was on the White House front yard.
It was pretty incredible.
And he didn't go. He literally waited. He waited for Kamala Harris's speech. Like, he could have done this all day. And he decides he's going to go on his first Zoom call. And then the guy gets out there and says, basically calls everybody trash. I mean, is this guy, like, trying to give it to them? I mean, what's the purpose?
He might be. You think he's trying to rig the election? I mean, why would he do that?
Because I don't think Jill Biden's sitting over him right now. You don't realize how important she was.
Yeah, but why would he even do the Zoom call? What's the purpose of him doing the Zoom call? He thinks he's that popular?
Well, after the Zoom call, don't you think that this guy's going to still be president for 2.5 months? Why isn't the 25th Amendment being used? I mean, how can this guy, just to jump ahead for a second, because he's such a weak president right now, Netanyahu is going up to his Israeli IDF guys and saying, guys, we got until January 20th to do whatever we want because they can't stop us right now. Kamala Harris isn't saying boo, and either is Joe Biden. And I know one thing. When Donald Trump comes in, he's going to say, Bibi, end this thing right now.
All right, so I have a conspiracy theory.
Okay?
I'm saying if my team, Kamala, loses, what's the date of that election? November 6th? 5th. If she loses on the 6th, she invokes the 25th Amendment.
And she becomes president.
She becomes number 47. All of Trump's hats, everything that you have, right here that says 45. Does it say 45 to 47?
It says 45 and 47.
She becomes the 47th president. This is my conspiracy.
And my hat goes to like...
Your hat's no good. It's worthless now. And she becomes November 6th, or November 8th, how long it takes her to do the 25th Amendment. And she uses her powers of the presidency to overturn this election between now and January 20th.
She still needs the Senate, and she won't get it.
It's the old Senate. Well, the Senate she doesn't have, but she's going to do it. They're cooking up a deal right now. They're figuring out the deal. But you mark my words, folks. We're doing 400,000 reels a week.
He's going to be the 48th president?
This will be 100. This will be a 200,000 viewer reel next week. Mark my words. If she loses, they invoke the 45th of the 25th.
And she does become the first woman president
ever. She becomes the first African American. Oh, I shouldn't bang on the table. It goes loud on the mic. Yeah. She becomes
Indian.
A black Indian American, whatever she is, president of the United States. She ruins all his marketing material, number 47, on all the shirts, all the hats.
And she goes into history as the first woman president.
What do you think of this theory?
I think people would not be able to fight her and say, no, he's really not. I mean...
And Donald, I have an idea for you. You should start selling that vest, that safety vest with Trump 47 on it right away. You could sell 100,000 of them.
Yeah.
Right?
You can. So let me ask you a question. So now with all the mainstream media trying to like push all these things, how do you feel about Jeff Bezos going up to the Washington Journal saying, I do not want you to endorse anybody? Yet for 4 years they bashed Donald Trump, always bashing him. So we all know how they feel. So why did the guy not endorse him?
Well, obviously, he has Blue Origin. He has a space company. Amazon probably does a huge amount of packaging business with the United States, and he doesn't want Donald Trump hating him. So he's figuring a no endorsement. Donald Trump knows where the guy stands. But I don't.
Are you saying Donald Trump knows another guy in the space industry that he could give his business
Elon. To? No, but I'm saying, Jeff Bezos, that's probably a good decision. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
The guy has $150 billion. Why doesn't he go to Switzerland or something and get that eye fixed?
Droopy eye?
Yeah. Why doesn't
he spends a lot of money juicing his body and everything.
He's juicing up. He's a monster. He's got all the designer clothes. He's got 3 people shaving his head every day, right? His neck is this big. But he needs to go to Switzerland and get that eye fixed.
I don't know. It's
I mean, if I had 150
maybe it's a
billion,
trademark. Maybe it's like his tattoo. I don't know.
like Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
maybe you should get a tattoo to cover
it's
it
like,
up or something.
but it's funny. He lost 250,000 subscribers. It comes out roughly $2 million a month, and they're telling him, "Oh, we're going to hurt
quit.
him."
A lot of them
A lot of quit, but they're saying we're going to hurt him. What's $2 million a month to Jeff Bezos when he's looking at his other businesses?
Oh yeah, he's going to get destroyed by Trump.
No, but the $2 million. What's that? What's the $2? It's nothing. It's a drop in. What's it? $100?
Yeah.
Is it like him losing $100?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these people are out of a job. Where are they going? The L.A. Times? They didn't endorse.
Talking about money, folks, we need everybody to subscribe.
Right.
Hit the subscribe button, because if you hit you don't have to give any information, who you are, what you are, anything. All you have to do is push subscribe or like. And it goes on our YouTube count, and it's good for the show.
And it helps
keeps
us grow.
It helps us grow in the reels, and we become more influential.
Right.
We're getting on Sirius Satellite. We put our application in, Sirius Radio.
Yeah, we're growing. We just need to subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, you got to hit the subscribe button, and we'll grow the show. But Jeff Bezos, so he's in one corner, and then you have Bill Gates, who gave $50 million to Harris. Why do you think Bill Gates, who's another guy worth $150 billion, both these guys got divorced? And they gave their ex-wives $35 billion each. So I have this here from the New York Post. Melania Gates, Bill Gates' wife, has a new lover.
Right.
And I don't understand how I get in that pond. How do I get in that pool to potentially? She's not really attractive looking, is she?
Her kids are cute though, but
you know what a Jewish 10 is, don't you?
Yeah, what, a 5 and then stands on the money? And
no, a 5 with $5 million in cash.
Right.
She's got $34 billion in cash, Gavi.
I'm going to tell you why.
She's better looking.
I'm going to tell you where Bill Gates.
Why do you give her?
Is a little on the, he's a little on the cheap side, I think.
Why?
And the reason why I think Bill Gates is on the cheap side is because the reason he gave the $50 million is Donald Trump said that if he wins, he's going to release the Epstein tapes. And
in the video.
And Harris said that she will not. Now, let me ask you a question.
And Gates was on Air Flight Epstein.
How many times?
Like 20 times.
And let me ask you a question.
And his wife left him over that.
He's divorced. He's divorced. He literally gave up, $40 billion.
Right.
He's divorced.
Because he was on Pedophile Island.
Right. And now this is over his head. So now, if she divorced him, she knows, Melinda knows what took place, because she probably said, "Come clean to me." And he probably said, there were some 16-year-old girls. I'm just saying, like underage girls.
Wow.
And I think that, you know what? Why give 50? Give $1 billion. You're worth that type of money. Give $1 billion. Make sure she wins.
Right.
I
Knock
mean,
it out of the
what's
park.
$50 million?
How do you figure $50 million? How do you calculate that? I mean, what's going through his head?
Let me ask you a question.
I got the list. Maybe I'll give $70 million, $50 million.
If you went up to P. Diddy right now and you said $600 million and you're free.
Oh my God!
Does he write the check for 600?
100%.
600 million. He walks out and just puts it behind him, and then
I think if he has $1 billion, he'd give it all.
Right.
Because he's got enough diamonds and other stuff he could sell.
And he'll just keep going anyway. But I mean, I'm just telling you. So that's where it's kind of crazy when you see. And then you had today, Mark Cuban goes on The View, and he basically said that Donald Trump, all the women that Donald Trump hired are dumb. And they're not intelligent. And then you got that girl, Ortega. You got Connolly, Karen Ann Connolly. He surrounds himself with brilliant
Nikki
women.
Haley was
where does he come off?
How about the Arkansas governor? What's her name?
Huckabee.
Huckabee was his press.
But where does he come off?
Hope Hicks.
But he comes off where he's sitting there. Kamala Harris is a genius. I tell you what. I bet you I come in contact with 15 women every day that are more qualified to be the president of the United States than Kamala Harris. She's no genius.
That's what Willie Brown said.
That's why, right. And Willie Brown said other things.
She had other traits that he liked.
Right. He had other,
and Montel Williams too.
Yeah. So where does all of a sudden he's lecturing and telling people that Donald Trump surrounds himself with not smart women?
That was a complete Mark Cuban.
And Kamala Harris is sitting there like she's the genius. Really?
Mark Cuban, you made a brain fart. You screwed up.
And who are the other women? Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar. Sonny Houston?
Yeah, that was a
morons
dumb comment.
After morons.
There's look at Golda Meir. Look at all these people, all these prime ministers over the years that are women. Women are certainly a lot smarter than men. We recognize that. Mark Cuban really screwed up. And Donald Trump, he had project managers that were women on building sites.
And you know where this country...
He has a lot of women that work
But you know where
that was bad comment.
Where this country has come pretty far. I don't know of anybody that would have a problem, really, with a woman being president anymore.
I wouldn't care.
Like, no one cares.
They're more ruthless than men.
Yeah, no one cares anymore. The only thing they do care about is just not this one. Because this one isn't qualified. This DEI hire, we can't... Don't show. Just give us someone of quality. No one cares anymore about this glass ceiling first one.
But let me ask you this question: if you're Kamala Harris, okay, and you have to defend this horrible record that Joe Biden has out there with immigration, with fentanyl, with all these kids that are missing, you have to defend inflation, the economy. Other than a word salad all the time, what can you say to defend the record? She doesn't have a leg to stand on. I think she's doing a great job defending a shitty record.
But here's what she says, for instance, here's what she says to scare people. If Donald Trump wins the presidency, if you're a journalist, if you're an anchor person, he's going to throw you in jail. He's going to throw his enemies in jail. When in reality, because Democrats, I'll tell you what they have done lately. Everything they accuse Republicans of doing, they did. So let's take, like, Joe Biden. Steve Bannon went to jail. Navarro went to jail. Who was the guy that was on the podcast today?
Peter Flynn, Roger Stone. There's a Paul Manafort. There's a whole list.
Who was the guy that was his...
Elon Musk,
who did they throw in Rikers? Who did they throw in Rikers?
His accountant, Weisselberg. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, these people went to jail. And then, not to mention January 6th, how many people maybe just walked into the Capitol building not knowing anything, and they served 4 months or 2 months? Everything she's accusing the Republicans of doing, they did.
I think it's a great strategy, Gavi. She's doing a great job. You can ask her any question, and her response is to come back with Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Donald Trump is this is how she responds to everything. She can't defend inflation. She can't defend her record. But what I don't understand, this is a problem I have with Donald Trump. And by the way, we can talk about early voting. I know you early voted, right?
I did.
I haven't early voted. I'm voting election day. I'm still not, I'm leaning Harris. Trump, you still can get me. But I'm leaning Harris. But as an American, as a 67-year-old guy, it's tradition to stand in line. I like standing in line, and I like voting on election day.
If you vote early, you're standing in line now a little bit. It's not like...
I know 50 million Americans voted early.
Because I like standing in line and talking to everybody and see what
I like doing
and get a little bit of the pulse and everything. And
what does that say, Gavi?
It says that we have like 10 minutes to go and everything. But
wait, let me ask you. This is my dilemma with Donald Trump. Okay. Maybe you can convince me not to vote Harris. As I said, I'm leaning Harris. I'm voting on election day. I didn't want to vote early like you. Nikki Haley had a lot of votes. She ran against Donald Trump. She kind of screwed him. She waited to the last minute to bail out, and he had to work a little harder. He can't get over it. He can't.
And she said a lot of negative stuff.
But, she can put him over the finish line, and he refuses to allow her to share a stage with him. That grudge complex is stopping me. That one thing I'm really concerned about, that he knows he can win. He knows he can get a victory. It could be on inflation, any issue, but he could have a grudge against a senator or somebody and not vote for the American people. Why isn't he?
So if that one thing...
Yes, that's my one problem.
So because he couldn't get someone to help him push him over the finish line.
Nikki Haley could get him the win.
Okay, so let's take that same...
Like Josh Shapiro could get...
Right, exactly, because you knew I was going
I knew you were going
there. I trapped it. That's checkmate. Because I was going to put you in checkmate, and you knew that because, you know what?
I'm sorry, I take this Nikki Haley stuff.
Because I want to say something. If Kamala Harris knows that Pennsylvania is the key, how doesn't she take Josh Shapiro,
he's got to have boogeymen in his closet. Okay. He's got a bad thing.
So I'm going to tell you something. Not only would he deliver Pennsylvania,
he's got
because
a bad thing that would come out. He's got a girlfriend.
Walz is crazy with the. He's connected with China. He puts his foot in his mouth all the time. So your same thinking. Her first decision she made was to take Walz over Shapiro. So the question is, what is in Shapiro's
Something
closet,
bad.
and it's not being a Jew. Because let me tell you
No.
something. That's not the answer. It's something is in his closet that they didn't choose him because he delivers Pennsylvania and probably the White House. Unless something would come up.
He's got a boogeyman in there. There's something really bad that they didn't pick him because he's a natural. It's like Nikki Haley, but this is a character trait that I'm trying to in my own mind rationalize. Donald Trump, Nikki Haley has a huge independent support base of women where he's lacking. He's rolling behind Kamala Harris, and if Nikki Haley shared a stage with him tonight, it would push him over the edge. He would win convincingly. It would be a clean sweep. He can't do it. So my question to you is,
Donald Jr.'s the one that probably doesn't want her.
but if there's a vote on some issue that's good for America, and he's got to cozy up to a senator like a Chuck Schumer and suck some
But
wind,
he does do
can't
that.
do that.
But his trait is he looks the other way. Listen, Vance called him some names. He chose him. He called Marco Rubio little hands Rubio.
Yeah.
He got Ted Cruz. He said
what is
something.
it about
He's
her
close with
that
Ted
he
Cruz.
just can't
So he does
forgive
look
her?
the other way. The people that he won't look the other way on right now, Chris Christie won't look the other way on
Last
him.
night, they asked her when was the last time she was endorsing him and speaking very highly of him, and said we have a simple choice: Trump or Harris. I'm going with Trump. And they asked her when's the last time you spoke to Trump. She said June. We're in November.
Right.
That's crazy. This guy could win. But anyway, folks,
Let's talk about the New York Yankees.
Yeah, let's talk about the Yankees. We'll talk to you folks next Thursday. We're going to have a great election. Gavi and I, is it only 10,000? That's our bet?
Yeah.
10,000.
I don't want to take your money. I think it's a blowout. I think he's getting 300 electoral votes and he wins the popular
Do you
vote.
want to make it under over that it takes 2 weeks to count the votes? It's going to be like
less
the
than,
Chads?
no, it'll be less than that.
Well, okay.
So now let's talk New York. So I'm going to put on
New
my
York Mets
I'm going
or
to talk
Yankees?
my New York.
Next.
Well,
let's talk about the
Well,
Yankees.
the reason why we're going to
talk
talk about the Knicks because all the New Yorkers out there, you got one team left. Okay, I'll throw you two. You got the Rangers, but the New York Yankees, New York Mets, Giants, and Jets.
What happened to Aaron Judge? Why did he?
I think I think Aaron Judge said, if you would have paid me $50 million more than the $400 million, I would catch fly balls out there. I think that Cole, the pitcher, who's like a Cy Young winner, I think if you would have paid him an extra $20 million, he might have decided to run to first base on ground balls and take a routine play that they practice 100 times a day from spring training on, and then on Game 5 of the World Series, Cole doesn't run to first base. That's something little leaguers do.
But
Joke.
You're close to all these ball players. You're friendly with them all. I'm not friendly with anybody, that's a professional athlete. Is it conceivable? Is it possible Aaron Judge is taking money?
No. He has too much money.
I mean, he's $400 million.
No way. No.
How could a guy that great do that poorly? I mean, unless he's on the
He
tape.
had a great catch that night. He hit a home run. He was ready to go. And by the way, he makes that catch. The other errors don't even happen. And by the way, Cole would
have been 5-0.
And Cole has a no-hitter going.
Yeah.
Instead, he ended up throwing an extra 35 pitches that inning. He was probably too exhausted to run to first base because he was tired. But that can never happen. That was the biggest.
In high school, it wouldn't happen.
That was the biggest collapse in the history of the World Series on one game, one inning of a game. Then you got the geniuses, by the way. I take my hat off. My one of my closest friends, Worldwide West. Shout out Leon Rose. All of a sudden
on the Knicks. They
yeah,
run the Knicks.
you got Brunson. You got Rick Brunson. Coach Mo Cheeks is a great coach now on the New York Knicks. They know they get Karl Anthony Towns. He puts up 44 points last night, 16 rebounds. They got a winner. They have a nucleus that's going ahead.
So you're saying the Mets stink. The Giants
The Mets don't stink. They're on the raw.
The Jets are bad. The Giants are bad.
Jets are going downhill. The Giants are going downhill. The Mets give an arrow going up because they're doing
How
okay.
the Islanders? I don't even follow
Islanders,
hockey.
I think, have an arrow going down. But the Knicks are booming. They're going up. And guess what? Their players, Brunson, not only takes less money and shows up and works hard every night, the Villanova guys. Josh Hart, here's a guy that gets 14 rebounds a game. He's a guard. He works his butt off. And then you get the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, who decides he's not going to play 30 games this year, or Paul George that they gave. He makes $70 million a year, Joel Embiid. You know what's coming out in the papers right now? That they should be giving the refund, which I said last week.
How do they do that?
I think that if you paid money to a game and Joel Embiid doesn't show up, you should be able to get your ticket and get your money back because I think that they owe it to you.
No team's going to do that.
Well, then, you know what? Why was Michael Jordan able to go 82 games?
Well,
why was Magic Johnson 82 games? Larry Bird 82 games?
I think they have to get a little more organized.
Do they need more money?
No. I think what they have to do is get a little more organized and at the beginning of the season, map out the games he's not going to play. Tell the buying public.
He played the Olympics, Joel Embiid.
No, but
he was healthy for the Olympics?
Let's say the deal is he's only playing 40 games. You have to tell the buying public in advance that the August 16th, whatever, the November 22nd game, he is not going to play. You got to tell these people in advance that because you can't take your 9-year-old to go see Joe Embiid and them not be there.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. What I think is very important to being a fan right now, because if you're a fan, you don't want the team. You don't want a team. I'd rather have a team that works hard and treats you with respect than to like literally piss in your ear. I think that the New York Knicks are just such of a classier, likable. They're a likable team. I don't think the 76ers...
We should get them to sponsor us, Govy. You're really pushing the Knicks hard. Knicks, sponsor us.
They're a likable team.
Yeah.
The 76ers are not a likable team except for Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah,
Maxey is a likable guy. But if the rest of the team, they're not likable. I don't even know Paul George yet. He doesn't show up game one.
Yeah.
The guy had injury problems his whole thing. He's going to be like an Andrew Bynum. He probably will like be a bust.
Right.
And the Philadelphia teams deserve it. But
this Yankee thing, I mean, I watched A-Rod on an interview, and he was great when they were down 3-0. And A-Rod said, look, the Yankees have to focus one game at a time. And they came out and went 3-1. That game they should have never lost. And I just can't understand.
Well, I think they got devastated after losing game one on a walk-off home run by Freeman.
Yeah.
I think it took 3 games for the Yankees to get. It was a knockout that they were getting a standing 10 count. They came up at 8. They lost the next 2 games because they were like couldn't believe it. They finally got their like feet under them again, and then they have the 3 errors. And I think they could have won the World Series if they would have won last night's game.
It's really hard to come back in the World Series from 3-0. I mean, think about it. You're traveling to the left coast. It's a tough ride out there. It's 6 hours. So, I don't care if you're on a super nice jet.
Now I will talk about a little gambling and some point spreads.
Let's talk about
the worst loss in sports.
How'd you do last week, Govy?
I'm going to tell you. The worst loss in sports, though, was when, because I've never seen this before. I never saw the last play of a game.
Washington?
The Washington-Chicago Bears. Washington needs a touchdown. And before the Hail Mary, the ball is in the, like, running, as the play's going on, the Chicago Bears defensive back is yakking to the fans, telling them how he's winning the game and laughing at them. They have to tell him the play is already underway. He has to run to the ball. He's the guy that bats the ball backwards.
Yeah, the guy caught it. It was lucky. He caught it off
I cut the guy. You got to send the message. Yeah. I cut him. I don't care who he is. You cut him.
But he touched the ball.
You cut them and you send a message to the team. You play 60 minutes. You don't lose a game. They could end up losing the playoffs, not being in the playoff because the Central Division is really tough. All these people working that hard for this guy, I kick him off the team.
A crazy statistic, folks. If Washington wins the game before the election, a Democrat always wins.
If Washington
since 1940.
Do you know who Washington's playing this week?
No, I think it counted that game.
Well, it's...
since 1940.
No, the game before is this week, though, and they're playing the New York Giants.
Okay. I think it was something significant that I heard 1940, but go ahead.
All right, so this week, first of all, last week, I went 2-1 in college. Pros, I had a tough time because the favorites, I went 1-4. I went 1-4 because the favorites, I lost some tough games. I know. But I was 8-0 in the pros, so I bounced back. But this week, I got for tomorrow night's game. There's a game in college, University of South Florida -2.5 over FAU. That's
you got reels. Let's
go. Okay. Virginia Tech -4 over Syracuse. Indiana -8 over Michigan State. Kentucky +17 over Tennessee. That's my college picks. For my pro picks, I like the Texans +2 over the New York Jets. I like Dallas.
That's it. +2.
Yeah, I like Dallas +3 over the Atlanta Falcons. This is it. They lose this game.
I like
Jerry
the
Jones. Jerry Jones suffers a heart attack if they don't win this game. And I like Buffalo -6 over Miami.
I like that.
And
is Tua playing?
Yeah, he is playing, but I think he gets knocked out this game.
Oh,
I think how about that? He gets knocked out this game. And I like Detroit -2.5 over the Green Bay Packers.
All right, so we can get it on a reel. Go through those pro picks real fast because it's got to be under 60 seconds. Do them real fast.
Okay, pro picks. Texas +2 over the New York Jets. Dallas +3 over the Atlanta Falcons. Buffalo -6 over the Miami Dolphins. And the Detroit Lions -2.5 over Green Bay.
Where's the Dallas game?
In Atlanta.
Wow. I mean, Dallas is going to lose that game.
I think they're winning. Their season's over if they lose this game.
Yeah, their season's over. I mean, that's just the
Jerry Jones is like imploding. I love it. Being from Philadelphia. I love this guy imploding like
him in pain. Yeah.
And
his son Stephen Jones looks just like him. You know, he's in the booth too. So before we say goodbye, I have a question. Gisele Bunchkin, Tom Brady's ex-wife, is now pregnant by the jiu-jitsu instructor. What do you think of that?
Well, first of all, I really don't give a crap about Ben Affleck, J-Lo, what they're doing, babies. It doesn't do anything for me. I really don't care. All I can tell you is that the jiu-jitsu guy is 35 years old. He's actually, 6 years younger than, 9 years younger than Tom Brady. Her kids are 14 years old, 15 years old.
She's got one with...
2 with Tom Brady.
2 with Tom Brady, and then he's got one with Bridget Moynihan.
Yeah, and
then this one. I mean, it's a...
And then the whole dynamic. The dynamic is you got a jiu-jitsu guy who has probably 2 nickels to his name and one great client in her. And now for the rest of his life,
he's in. He's in.
He's
it's
in
like
until
Melinda Gates.
No. He's in until she says you're in.
You're out.
But don't forget, there's a little Demi Moore, Ashton Kutcher thing going here. I mean, she is 10 years older than him.
Well, my daughter has a great expression. How you get them is how you lose them.
Right.
This jiu-jitsu guy better watch out.
Yeah. And by the way, it's and then he just found out. He found out like through everybody else, like through X.
But do you think Tom's upset about this?
No, I think he moved on.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He's just as happy. Let her. You know what they say? Happy ex-wife,
happy life.
Happy life. That's because everybody says happy wife, happy life. Happy ex-wife, happy life, because the ex-wife can just cause such aggravation with kids, and now she's going to want Tom to take the kids.
Right. Well, Gavi, it's the end of our show. It was a little longer today, and I think I know what you're going to be for Halloween. A podcast superstar.
And remember, they got to push subscribe, though. It's important.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button. Make him a super podcast superstar.
Keeps us on the air.
Yeah, thank you, folks.
See you later.
Have a great Halloween, and go vote.
Thanks.